Finally, some good news for home supply, and it's only going to cost the state 240 million. I'm not being sarcastic. If this helps the government reach its target of 50,000 units a year, and it only cost €4,800 per unit, that seems like money well spent in my mind. Do you think so? Before I go on, this is a band-aid. It's not a solution for the root cause. It's a temporary ease of some pain. But at least it will deliver more homes. But will it benefit buyers? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below after you watch this video. Before I explain what the good news is, some background first. Staggeringly, approximately 30% of the cost of delivering a new home is swallowed up by state taxes and charges, including stamp duty, VAT, and development levies. This is a significant portion of the cost of delivering new homes, and it's crucial to understand its implications. If you are trying to buy a new home and 30% of the costs are associated with state taxes and charges, it can kind of feel that the state is working against you, not with you, even if they are giving you 30 grand in terms of your first time buyer's grant. But to try ease this burden, the government have just announced that they will be extending the temporary waiver on development contributions. These are levies charged by local authorities on new housing developments. The waiver of the levy was intended to stimulate building of new home developments, and the level of commencements has increased pretty sharply over the last 12 months. Hence, the government believe this measure is working and they want to extend it. The waiver of the levies are working. Developers have been rushing to try get sites started over the last few months to make sure that they actually get the benefit of it. Many developers have stated that the only way or the only reason that they've been able to start building is because of the waiver of the levies, and many of them have stated that the only reason their sites are viable or feasible at the moment is because the levies have been waived. The temporary development contribution waiver scheme applies for 1 year for all permitted new residential developments that commence on site between the 25th of April 2023 and the 24th of April 2024. And they had to be completed by, I think it was the 31st of December 2025. This waiver covers all the costs of development contributions that a developer might have to pay towards a local authority. Under the scheme, the local authority are still paid by the government so that they don't run out of funding for other projects they may have earmarked some of that contributions actually for. This deadline of the 24th of April 2024 did lead to a number of developers starting construction, but many needed more time, and that is why it has been agreed, or the scheme has been announced, that it will be extended for 1 more year. But why is this important, or so important, to kickstart development of housing projects? As mentioned at the start, approximately 30% of the cost of new builds are state-related costs, i.e. 7.5% for stamp duty on development land, 13.5% for VAT on the price of the house, 1 or 2% for stamp duty, and then also you have your development levy contributions towards your local authority. Those levies can add up to a lot more than the 4,800 per unit I mentioned at the very start of this video, and that's an assumption I made based on the government's own estimate of how much this scheme of waiving development levies would cost the government, and also taking an assumption that they're hitting their target of 50,000 units within the next year. This all adds up to a unit cost of 4,800. I'm not sure that's quite right in terms of anyone really looking at this, but just for the sake of this video, that's what I'm saying. But that 4,800 is actually way less than what many developers actually pay towards local authority contributions. The levy waivers only apply to residential property development, but every council will have their own different levy rates. Dublin City Council have it at €113 per square metre, plus contributions for the Lewis up to about 2k. So development levies per unit could range from about 13,000 up to about 15,000 or more, depending on the size of the unit within the city. But taking, let's say, Dunleary, which potentially is one of the most expensive in terms of levies, their levies could be far higher, anywhere up from about 13,000 all the way up to 30,000, depending on where the location of the site is. So if a developer is building 100 units in one scheme and their levy or their development levy contributions perhaps are about 30 grand, this could mean that they have savings of up to 3 million. And let's say they're building 400 houses on a development site. This could save the developer about 12 million. So you can understand why this is driving many developers to try get started on site as quickly as possible. In some counties, development levies will not be as high, but it will still mean considerable savings for developers, and also will hopefully mean more supply. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you see this as a good incentive for developers, or do you see it as a handout? Is it a good or bad idea? Do you think the new targets of 50,000 units per year will be met? And if so, what percentage of those will actually be available within the private market, or will most of them end up in the build for rent sector or with housing authorities?